Welcome back into the High School Fan Zone on a Wednesday night. I'm Randy Rosetta. This is 100.7 The Score. We're going to shift gears and jump into the Pirate Fan Zone with first-year coach Chris Baker. Is that weird to hear still, even a few months later?
Yeah, I'm still getting used to that.
And
yes, sir.
Wyatt, second-year starting catcher. All right? Got the math correct?
Yes, sir.
You've been around for a while, but this will be your second year.
Yes, I was around my freshman year. The bullpen caught around with all the upperclassmen and everything, and my sophomore year was the year that I started actually catching and contributing towards the team and everything. And then last year I earned that starting spot, and it's been a blast.
I think, Chris, did you tell me we're populated by catchers here? Two former catchers.
3 catchers here, yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Now I did my homework on you when you got the job. You played when you got to McMurray, you switched to first base, right?
I played some first base, played a little outfield, but consider myself a catcher.
Catcher's where your heart is.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I had to switch because I blew out my shoulder between my junior and senior year. Don't ever do that. It's no fun. And couldn't stop. I don't know if I was throwing guys out before that at a high rate before then, but I couldn't throw anybody out after that. So got moved to first base because I was not that fast but had good hands. So I don't know what your story was. I'm not going to put you on the spot there, but
yeah, no, I'll tell Wyatt all the time. I'm glad I get to coach players that are a lot better than me.
There you go.
So
I will say this: Paul Maneri, the former LSU coach, told me this once. Anybody who looks at a first baseman and says, "Oh, anybody can play first base," zero truth to that. You have to have some skill there.
I think it's the hardest position to play because you have to hit the best.
There you go. There's always that tie-in. You guys lost a pretty decent first baseman. He wasn't bad on the mound either from last year's team. But you guys have a lot of people back from, remind me, regional quarterfinals or semifinals?
Quarter, yes.
And I lose track because you guys have gone so deep the last several years. You and Monterey softball, I have to get it straight in my head. They've gone 4 rounds deep, 5 rounds. You guys have the cover was not bare that you inherited, Chris. Let's put it that way.
Absolutely. I think our kids, like that's a great tradition, right? I told them the first day of practice, you guys aren't district champions. You guys haven't made the playoffs. Some of us were a part of a team that did, but we're still trying to make our own way and stay humble. That way we don't have to be humbled. So,
Wyatt, it's one thing for a coach to say that, but when you're a player who's grown up in that program and seen what your former older teammates have done, I would think there's a lot of pride, but also motivation of, hey, look what these guys did. We've got to kind of keep that bar where it's at, if not raise it.
Yes, that's one thing that we've always been told at the first day of practice every single year is that we're not district champs, so we don't make it deep into the playoffs every single year. It's something that we work to every single day in the off season, over the summer on our own, not when we're just around our high school teammates, but it's something that we always work to, even at the beginning of the year, something that we strive towards to get to that 7th round game at the end of the year.
I'm glad you said that because baseball, there's not really an off season anymore. Chris, you're pretty young. That may have been a little bit of a case with you, but when I was growing up, at least you had a little bit of time to. I drove my car fast and met girls. Let's put it that way. In the summer when baseball ended, but these guys now they're grinding. If not 12 months a year, 10 and a half months a year.
Yeah, they play a lot, and Wyatt's one of them that plays a lot. I mean, you take your bat home
every day. Yeah.
Right. And so, it's a lot that goes in behind the scenes for these guys, for sure.
First-year coach, but third year in the program?
This will be my 6th year.
6th year.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You've kind of been off the radar then. Brad Winchie's over there dominating the microphone. If he's listening, he knows I'm joking. I think I was like a Brad Winchie whisperer. I could get him to talk a little bit, but every once in a while somebody would walk up and you could see him just, I don't want to talk anymore. I totally understand. I'm a reformed introvert myself, so Brad Winchie's not the coach anymore, but he's still around. That's one of the cool things about Lubbock Cooper is your athletic director is a former baseball coach. What is Terry Baxter's official title now?
He's a strength coach. He does all our strength workouts.
Former baseball coach, very highly successful baseball coach.
Absolutely.
Brad Winchy is over there doing what he does now, highly successful baseball coach. Is that pressure to have all those guys around, or are you glad to have people to kind of bounce ideas off of?
I think it's pretty unique and pretty neat to have, Terry Baxter and Brad Winchy, who, the program hasn't changed hands much in, 30 years. And so
it's a lot of wins.
And they still care, We all went to dinner that night of the first start of baseball. And
hold that thought.
Cool.
We'll come back after the break here. We're jumping into a break. We'll be back on the Pirate Fan Zone after this break on 100.7 The Score. Sorry.
Bringing you the latest news from Lubbock Cooper Athletics. This is the Pirate Fan Zone podcast from 100.7 The Score. The Score.
Welcome back into the Pirate Fan Zone. I'm semi-back to normal thanks to Kyler there and his magic hands with the headphones here. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not giving credit to the wrong people. This is two times this week, guys, where I've been a little bit frazzled. I was late on Monday working on some stuff, and I told you guys I'm in Super Bowl mode, so my brain's like Swiss cheese. So I apologize if I'm not all here. I promise when you come back I'll be more engaged. So I'm going to let you guys do most of the talking here. Lubbock Cooper baseball has been as good as any program in Lubbock the last several years. For both of you guys, why are we going to be talking about the success of Lubbock Cooper baseball in a month and 2 months again? What's going to keep you guys headed in that right direction?
I think a lot of our success is that a lot of this team that we have this year, as much as last year, we have a bunch of good team chemistry. All of us have grown up playing ball together. We've always been around each other. It's one thing that we trust each other every single time we step out on that baseball field, which that's one of the main things that leads to our team's success every single year.
What about you, Chris? Not to put any pressure on you.
Yeah, I mean, there's no secret about what it takes to be a good baseball team, and that's kind of what we work at every day is the fundamentals. And then what I just touched on, we're family. I think that means a lot to them, and we're gonna go with that. We're gonna go with you play hard for your family. You bond together, and it makes it mean a little more.
One thing I've always thought about baseball, too, because I actually coached teenage baseball when I lived in Louisiana a little bit, is that family is on the field. There's also that family up in the stands because, as you mentioned, Wyatt, you guys have played so much together. Your parents have spent a lot of time together in the summer. That's become their summer family almost. So not that parents of other sports aren't just as invested in seeing their kids do well, and there's summer basketball, there's summer volleyball, but baseball is a little bit different because your families are staying at the same hotels, they're hanging around the pool, they're doing all this stuff, let alone what the guys are doing. So, and I've enjoyed getting to know a lot of the Lubbock Cooper parents. How motivating is that for you guys as players, Wyatt, to see your families that are connected like that in support of you? Because you guys, it's always cool to me in the playoffs. You guys always have this caravan that shows up to follow you guys.
Yes, I don't think it's just as much as our family is. We've all middle school grown up together, and not just sports wise, but a bunch of our friends and family have just grown together with that being on the baseball team, going to every single game. But it's just as much as our students. We all support each other every single. Our off-season baseball team out there all went to every single football game, and all those football kids come out and support us just as much as we support them, which always brings that energy to the crowd. And that's one thing that I would think every single athlete likes playing around is a bunch of energy.
We talked about this, Chris. Your football program and baseball program very much go hand in hand. Ryan is, I think, the fourth or fifth quarterback in a row that's been Ryan Rodriguez that's pretty much going to play a prominent role for you guys. You gave up the football coaching whistle this year, right?
Yes, sir.
I mean,
yes, sir. I'm out of football.
You and your wife had a baby, so there was work to do at home. So I guess you get to cut some slack there. But why does that football thing? Why is it so tightly connected?
I think, for one, the seasons don't match up, so they can, afford to play. Two, I think there's some correlations, maybe mentally, that guys have success in that quarterback role, or when you're hitting and everybody's watching you, that's some pressure.
Yes.
And I think that goes hand in hand, playing quarterback or playing receiver. You got to do your job.
I saw some speed from Ryan in the next to last playoff game, and he also bowled over a guy. He ran over a linebacker. How's that going to translate when he's on the mound or at third base this year?
Well, we're still looking for the speed part. Sorry, no. He's doing great. I think his mentality is of a leader now that he's kind of grown into. He's not a sophomore anymore, and I've been real pleased with how he handles his day to day. He's a warrior, so we're happy to have him for sure.
You've got him. You've got Wyatt. I'm going to let you talk about the third guy that jumps into my mind right away. Wyatt. You've got Jake back on the mound. He steps up. He was a great pitcher last year. Now he steps up into that spotlight role even more. How ready is he for that?
As ready as anyone that could be. A bunch of leaders on this team, and it's coming back as last year, just missing Tim and Castro, and it's like me and Jake personally, we knew that we were coming into this year, we were still going to be leaders from last year. But after he tore his meniscus, in the offseason, he's jumped back as ready as he could possibly be, and he's looking really good right now.
I'm just excited that I got his name right, because I kept calling him by his brother's name. And
I've done that before too. So
he'd just look at me for a second. I think, if it makes him feel better, I've called Jet McCaslin Grant several times because I knew his brother, so it just sticks. When you get to be an old dude, it sticks in your head. So if I start calling you Scott, don't get mad at me. You guys have been at it for 2 weeks. Kind of run me through when the season starts for real. I know scrimmages but I was a player once. Scrimmages are great, but it's when you get to put the uniform on and those games start to count that it gets going, get your blood going. When is that? When is
February 20th? We'll go down to Round Rock, and then we start. First day we'll play Round Rock High and Keller Indians. So 2 quality 6A programs straight out the gate. So it'll be a good test for us.
You guys don't back away much in tournaments, and then we didn't get a chance to talk about next time you guys are on. We'll talk a little bit more about your district, but because your district's so much bigger this year, you have your tournaments, but you start weaving in district games there pretty quick because you've got 16 district games.
Yes, sir.
Play everybody twice. A little bit different than last year. You don't play them 3 times. I told you it's the Tim Haynes rule. Teams were getting tired of having to face Tim Haynes 3 times in the same season, which watching that dude for 3 years, I don't blame coaches wanting to catch a break once in a while. So not that
Absolutely.
Jake's not exactly catching a break, but we'll have the Pirates back in again to talk about baseball. We're going to finish up tonight with the Patriot Fan Zone after this break on 100.7 The Score. I'm Randy Rosetta. This is the High School Fan Zone.